And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is going to feel something from him. And it ain't going to be easy to hit him. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside and out.
Florida, man looks absolutely amazing. Man looks like a monster. Man looks like precision. Jake Paul cannot take those body shots.
Oh, Tank's going to kill him. Tank's going to kill him because he won't be able to touch Tank. And then...
Okay. It's kind of like the Tyson thing again, though, right? Like when there was
it reminded me of that, but it also reminded me of like, oh, in barbershops across the world, people, or at least the country, people will talk about this and be like, oh, Tank's going to kill him because he will not get...
Boxing world is buzzing after Gervonta Davis was seen in peak form ahead of his showdown with Jake Paul. Recent training clips show him smashing the heavy bag with incredible power and pinpoint accuracy. His sharp movements and non-stop intensity make it clear he's taking this fight extremely seriously. Experts across the sport are praising his discipline, conditioning, and visible confidence as he heads into the matchup. Analysts believe Gervonta Davis has a strong chance to win this fight, but only if he stays disciplined and fights smart. They stress that Tank's best path to victory comes from using movement, ring control, and timing rather than rushing for an early knockout. His true brilliance lies in patience, in how he studies his opponent and finds the perfect moment to strike. Experts point out that if Davis focuses on sticking, moving, and maintaining distance, Jake Paul will struggle to cope with his precision and speed. While Tank is known for his devastating power, it's his defense and counterpunching that make him truly dangerous. Many agree that when Davis fights with focus and strategy, no fighter at Jake's level can match his blend of power, technique, and footwork.
He didn't, his ability make up for that size difference, in your honest opinion?
Well, he has to be very smart throughout the course of the fight. It's hard to know in some things. I think Gervonta's just gonna stick and move. He'll be fast, play it smart, I don't see him staying still for too long so Jake can land some shots. He'll just try to touch him. Who knows, man? It's an exhibition. It's a money grab. Jake's fighting one of the...
Analysts predict that Jake Paul is in for a tough awakening once he steps into the ring with Gervonta Davis. They argue that Tank's speed, experience, and fight IQ operate on a completely different level from anything Jake has faced before. While Jake's past opponents may have brought strength, none possess Davis's explosive timing or precision in exposing weaknesses. Many believe that once Tank lands clean, the power gap will be too much to handle. Experts describe Jake's defense as still rough around the edges, while Davis's veteran composure allows him to read and react with surgical accuracy. Because of that, most expect a knockout to be only a matter of time, with Tank's power and precision likely ending the fight in dramatic fashion.
Tank Davis look crazy, bro. Chilaquiles. Gervonta Tank Davis hitting a heavy bag in preparation for his Jake Paul fight November 14th down there in Florida. Man looks absolutely amazing. Man looks like a monster. Man looks like precision. Jake Paul cannot take those body shots. You mean to tell me somebody who done fought UFC fighters and a man with Parkinson's disease can take a body punch from Gervonta Tank Davis, and y'all basing y'all logic just because Jake Paul is big? No, Tank's gonna go ahead and put this man to sleep. I'm telling y'all that right now. If Tank don't put this man to sleep, he done let the black community down, he done let boxing down, and he ain't never been that nice. You Tank fans, y'all trying to give him a pass. If y'all said Tank is as skilled as y'all say he is, if he does not put Jake Paul to sleep and stop Jake Paul, his boxing career is absolutely voided. He already don't care about legacy, and just imagine he don't knock out Jake Paul, and now y'all gonna say it's not a real fight, it's an exhibition. No, we not giving no passes, bro. This Gervonta Tank Davis, he needs to put Jake Paul to sleep. I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, Jake Paul too big. No, Jake Paul chin ain't never been tested by somebody that hit as hard as Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank should put this man to sleep with ease. I'll say that respectfully. If you don't put him to sleep,
a 2-pack of ass. That shit stinks.
That's a 2-pack of ass at the highest level. And it's a musty energy at the highest level. Get it together. Get it together. Tank looks amazing. That's the Chilla Killer. Chilla Killers. Chilla Killer.
The weight factor has quickly become one of the most talked about aspects of this matchup. Some believe the size gap is simply too big to overlook, while others argue that Gervonta Davis's refined skill set will easily close that distance. The debate has split both fans and analysts. Critics question whether the fight is even fair, considering Jake Paul's naturally larger frame. Meanwhile, Tank supporters remain confident, insisting that his speed, precision, and discipline make size irrelevant. They point out that boxing isn't a contest of mass, it's a game of timing, control, and angles. To many, Jake's fundamentals still lack the depth needed to challenge someone as technically sharp as Davis, whose skill and ring IQ are expected to nullify any physical edge Jake might possess.
Gervonta Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child, Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135 pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight.
And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seem set to wear 12-ounce gloves.
And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not be officially recorded on their professional record.
Michael Bisping praised Gervonta Davis for his remarkable power and technical mastery, but reminded fans that size differences can't be dismissed entirely. He acknowledged Tank's proven ability to adjust when facing larger opponents, but emphasized that physical advantages always play some role. Bisping explained that while Davis could outsmart and outmaneuver Jake Paul, the weight disparity might challenge his stamina and ability to absorb heavier punches. Still, he admired Tank's mindset and grit, saying that if anyone can rise above such odds, it's him. In the end, Bisping believes that although the size gap is real, Davis's superior ring IQ and precision could still give him the edge, so long as he fights with complete discipline and strategy.
That's pushing 60 years old, for crying out loud, but at the same time pretending to be like this badass motherfucker, sending me DMs talking. He offered me a contract a long time ago, and I was like, what are you doing? I'm a retired fighter and I've got one eye. Why would I want to fight you? I wouldn't lower myself to doing that. I know a lot of people do that. They do lower themselves, if you want to say that, because of the payday, because Jake Paul is a big name. He is a social media sensation. He's a YouTube star. And now, of course, in the world of boxing, he's one of boxing's biggest stars because he puts on these spectacles like Paul versus Tyson, like Nate Diaz, because these are the fighters, these are the names that attract the eyes. Jake Paul is the B-side to almost every single one of his fights. When he fought Nate Diaz, people were tuning in for Nate Diaz. His last fight against Cesar Chavez Jr., apparently no one watched that fight. Apparently the pay-per-views were ridiculously low. So this one's going back to Netflix on November 14th, and it's an exhibition bout. Of course, it's an exhibition bout because no athletic commission in their right mind will sanction this fight. There's just no way you can make this a legitimate fight because of the size advantage. Typically, this would be very, very dangerous and someone could get really hurt. If Jake Paul was to swing as hard as he could and connect and wobble him and hit him many, many times and not knock him out, with the bigger gloves and the concussion possibilities and the brain rattling around inside the head, and Jake Paul just teeing off at him as hard as he could, it's dangerous. That's why fights like this can't get sanctioned. That's why this is a exhibition bout and not a real matchup. Now listen, they're both going to get paid tremendously. They're going to make a ton of money, and a lot of people are going to tune in and watch it on Netflix. Fair play.
Several boxing experts have pushed back against the idea that Gervonta Davis's record is overrated. They argue that his opponents often gain massive exposure and career momentum after sharing the ring with him. Fighters like Lamont, who were relatively under the radar before facing Tank, became far more recognized once the spotlight hit. Analysts say this highlights Davis's star power and lasting influence in the sport. They insist that Tank isn't just a top fighter, he's a brand that elevates everyone around him. To dismiss his accomplishments, they claim, is to ignore the fact that his very presence turns ordinary matchups into major events and helps other boxers build their own names in the process.
Discussion in the boxing world about Gervonta Davis and Gervonta Davis, his resume, who he's going to fight, the competitors that he's going to fight. And every once in a while, something happens that proves that Gervonta Davis is the face of that. If he's not the face of boxing because people just don't want him to be that, man, he is real close to it, because other than Canelo Alvarez, and even consider Canelo Alvarez included, nobody in boxing has divisions circulating around him like Gervonta Davis does. And that was proved during this Lamont Roach versus Pitbull Cruz announcement for their pay-per-view. Just think about this. Gervonta Davis, they always say that Gervonta Davis has a poor resume, but yet Gervonta Davis, guys that fight Gervonta Davis, lose to Gervonta Davis, or get a draw to Gervonta Davis, can fight one another and make an anticipated pay-per-view between the two of them. Because that fight with Pitbull Cruz is a very, very popular fighter with Mexican fight fans. Lamont Roach got a lot of name exposure with black fight fans and Mexican fight fans and white fight fans, all with his draw that he got against Gervonta Davis. Now they believe that this is going to be able to be a profitable endeavor for a pay-per-view. Now, let me also tell you that Rolly Romero, who was somebody else that Gervonta Davis fought in the past, will be on a pay-per-view that's going to be successful, most likely, when he defends his WBC 140-pound championship. Or does he have the WBA?
Coach Reg takes a more level-headed stance on the criticism surrounding Gervonta Davis. He reminds fans that Tank has already accomplished more than most fighters could dream of at his age. In his view, there's nothing wrong with chasing big paydays once you've proven your worth inside the ring. Reg argues that after years of sacrifice and danger, Davis has earned the right to secure his financial future. He explains that every fighter eventually reaches a stage where life-changing money becomes a priority. According to him, critics often ignore Tank's impact on the sport and undervalue his commitment. Whether Davis decides to hang up the gloves or keep competing, Reg insists his legacy as one of the top lightweights of this generation is already set in stone.
If that's your plan, I mean, if that's your plan to retire, then go get the bag and go about your business. You ain't doing nothing wrong. I'm not against it.
You got some people that are very critical, Tank. Does it make sense depending on what you're in boxing for? Because you got some people that want to fight the best. You got some people that want the accolades, the belts, the undisputed. And you got some people that just came in this game like, look, I'm trying to get my family out of poverty and give us generational wealth. Does it all depend on what you decided to box for?
Well, Tank accomplished a lot at a young age. You know what I mean? He accomplished a lot at a young age. So I wouldn't be mad if he took the bag and went about his business and never fought again. You know what I mean? Plus, look at some of the things that he's going through. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of that can affect you as well. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're trying to be in this game. So I think, get the bag and go. That's your plan. Get the bag and go.
For me, of course, I wanted to see him fight Shakur. I wanted to see him fight Devin.
Yeah, we all wanted to see him fight.
Some experts highlight that a big reason for the buzz around this fight is Gervonta Davis's influence and cultural presence. As one of the most recognized black athletes in America, Tank naturally commands major attention from both fans and the media. His bouts have grown beyond simple sporting contests, they've become cultural events that connect with people on a deeper level. Analysts note that his popularity has cemented him as one of boxing's biggest stars, a status that brings equal parts praise and scrutiny. They emphasize that public perception often shapes how such fights are viewed, and with Davis's name involved, headlines are inevitable. Still, most agree that it's his raw talent, not just his fame, that has truly earned him this position.
Black fighter, right? Everything is embellished and, made into a bigger deal, especially when they're popular fighters like Gervonta Davis. Or Floyd Mayweather has a close fight with Castillo Maidana, and it's the end of the world. Andre Ward has a tough fight with Kovalev. Oh, it's the end of the world. He cheated and all this stuff. Jermell Charlo has a close fight with Castano, so on and so forth, right? Oh, Jermell, it was a robbery, and it turns into this big deal. But back to Tank's resume, his last opponent was Lamont Roach. I thought he won the fight. There wasn't this crazy action happening on Lamont Roach's side prior to that knee thing. I feel like when the knee fiasco happened, that's when the fight started to pick up a bit. And Lamont Roach, I think what he deserves credit for is he exceeded expectations that people have for him. But you can't score a fight based on expectations. You feel me? Right? Like, you don't get a fight and get the victory because you did better than people thought you were going to do. That is not how you score boxing, right? You don't get more points because you're the underdog and you did better. It's not how boxing works at all, right?
Many experts view this matchup as more of a global event than a traditional boxing contest. Jake Paul's fame, built through social media and entertainment, has turned him into a crossover personality rather than a classic fighter. Analysts suggest that this bout isn't just about competition, it's about capturing the attention of mainstream audiences. With Netflix handling the broadcast, the fight is set to reach an enormous audience worldwide. While most expect Gervonta "Tank" Davis to dominate with his world-class experience, Jake's star power keeps the spectacle unpredictable and appealing. This showdown represents the merging of boxing and entertainment, where athletic skill collides with show business. Competitive or not, one thing's for sure, it will grab global headlines and bring millions of eyes to the ring.
Thoughts, I will reiterate one more time. I would rather see this because it's a spectacle than him versus Ryan Borland or Andre August or chasing these like quote-unquote championship dreams in boxing. I don't think he's a championship level boxer. I don't really care about that journey. I want to see him in spectacles. Netflix is going to air Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. So to me, this is,
Do you think it will do well?
It will be watched. It will be watched.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. A lot of people are going to watch.
I would rather see Anthony Joshua just because that has been put out there and is on the table. But I will watch this.
I saw some people breaking this down on, it was a non-fight pod. It was, I don't remember which one. And they were saying like, oh, Tank's going to kill him. Tank's going to kill him because he won't be able to touch Tank. And then
It's kind of like the Tyson thing again, though, right? Like when there was
it reminded me of that, but it also reminded me of like, oh, in barbershops across the world, people, or at least the country, people will talk about this and be like, oh, Tank's going to kill him because he will not get...
Stephen Fulton stepped up to defend Gervonta Davis amid criticism that Tank is only chasing big paydays. Fulton explained that every fighter deserves the chance to secure financial security, especially in a sport as brutal and short-lived as boxing. He reminded fans that Davis has already earned his stripes through years of dominance, so taking lucrative matchups now is simply smart business. According to Fulton, Tank has reached a stage where he's balancing legacy and longevity, not just chasing recognition. His comments echo a wider shift in boxing. More fighters are valuing their worth and refusing to be confined by old-school standards of what a pure boxer should be.
That's a no-brainer, but I understand. I still feel for Lamont. That's my boy. Like he still want his rematch. But then when you be realistic about the money situation, you're changing your whole family life. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's people hate on it because they're not in that position. I'm not saying Lamont. I'm speaking like other boxers. But you're like, oh, he this for that. He's this. It's a side quest. It's a little side quest. Because what happened when Floyd and all these guys went on WWE, but then they get right back to what they doing? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's another little side quest. I'm all for people just getting their money. So get the best, make the most that you can out of this entertainment world. Because I mean, I don't know. I would have done it as far as the money aspect, because none of us would deny that money. They talking like they would none of them.
Eddie Chambers warns that overlooking. Eddie Chambers believes stepping into the ring with Gervonta Davis would be a huge mistake for Jake Paul. He acknowledges Jake's natural size advantage but argues that Tank's mix of skill, power, and ring IQ makes him a nightmare matchup for anyone. Chambers explains that Davis's lightning-fast reflexes and explosive shot selection can break down bigger fighters who don't have strong defensive instincts. Unless Jake develops genuine knockout-level power, Chambers says, he'll struggle to deal with Tank's speed, pressure, and precision. He adds that what makes Davis truly dangerous isn't just his strength, it's his timing, calmness, and ability to stay composed under fire. Against someone that technically sound, Chambers believes size won't matter much at all.
Honestly, I'm not mad at him for it. He's gotten a lot of fighters and, actual fighters some shine. It also has done for women's boxing a lot. So I'm not mad at him for what he's been in boxing, what he's created. This is a little crazy right here. This is a little crazy. And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is going to feel something from it. And it ain't going to be easy to hit him. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside and out.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.
Argues that Tank's mix of skill, power, and ring IQ makes him a nightmare matchup for anyone. Chambers explains that Davis's lightning-fast